You are Locked On Knicks Postcast, part of Locked On Sports New York on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
All right, we are back. The Knicks and Pistons have now met 3 times this season. First 2, not that close. Tonight, game number 3 was close. It was entertaining. Unfortunately for the Knicks, the Pistons win 124-119. As we said, it was close, and it was a good one. A couple of late dagger threes from Malik Beasley, and the Knicks wrap up their homestand with the loss again, 124-119 to the Detroit Pistons. Hello, everyone. I'm Jay Berman. If you're a New Yorker, you might recognize my work. If not, welcome aboard. I've spent more than 2 decades in the biz, everything from TV to web to radio. You can follow me on X at jberman, Jayberman. Welcome to the Locked On Knicks Postcast, both on the Locked On Sports New York YouTube channel and the Locked On Knicks podcast feed. The Postcast, which is what we're doing right now, gives you a place to hang out after every single Knicks game. We're part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every single day. We'll break down the night for Mikal Bridges. He was lights out, especially in the second half, but it wasn't enough. Jalen Brunson and Karl Anthony Towns were involved as well. We'll discuss. New York falls to 26-15 overall after the loss. All that coming up on the Postcast. Today's episode is sponsored by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your very first purchase. Also want to tell you your favorite podcast now has a newsletter. Introducing the Locked On Knicks Daily Newsletter. One stop for ultimate team and league coverage delivered right to your inbox. Sign up for free now at LockedOnDaily.com. That again, LockedOnDaily.com. Start your day with the all-new free Locked On Knicks newsletter. As we said, Knicks lose to the Pistons 124-119. So Detroit and New York have already played 3 times. The Pistons have gotten the better of the Knicks twice on the Madison Square Garden floor. Believe it or not, the Knicks had beaten the Pistons 16 times in a row at MSG before that last loss in December. And now that's 2 in a row for Detroit at Madison Square Garden. A big reason why Cade Cunningham, who was quiet in the first half, certainly wasn't in the second half, winds down the game with a game-high 36, 14 of 27 from the floor. Did have 4 3-pointers as well. Now, those 2 3-pointers from Malik Beasley were daggers. As we said, they were just backbreakers. He, in fact, hit 6 of 8 from 3, did Beasley, for 22 points. He has the second most 3-pointers made in the NBA, so he's doing something right, and he's underrated, and he got the job done tonight for Detroit. Again, Malik Beasley with 2 of his 6 3-pointers with under 2 minutes remaining in the fourth quarter, and it turned out to be enough for Detroit, who again is now taking 2 of 3 from the Knicks this season. Knicks did have all 5 starters in double figures. We'll get to Mikal Bridges, who was brilliant, specifically in the second half. But as it usually does, begins and ends with both Jalen Brunson and Karl Anthony Towns. The 2 combined to put up 57. Brunson had 31. Karl Anthony Towns had 26. Problem was the defense. The defense was not there, specifically in the second half, specifically in the fourth quarter, late, specifically with Malik Beasley going up for jumpers. So the Pistons, who, by the way, quite easily the most improved team in the NBA to date. We've played now 41 games, or at least the Knicks have played 41 games. They're 26-15. Pistons are 21-19 through 40 games. Folks, they won 14 games all of last season. They're already 21-19 and very much alive for a playoff spot in the Eastern Conference halfway through. Again, this was game number 41, and considering how things have gone lately for the Knicks, erratic, inconsistent, just a few of the adjectives used to describe exactly what the Knicks are going through right now. They're fighting it. They finally got their shot back tonight, and then the defense let them down. Knicks lost by 25 to OKC 4 nights ago. Yesterday at the Garden against Milwaukee, they won by 34. So they lost to Oklahoma City by 25, their worst loss of the season. They beat Milwaukee by 34, their best win of the season, and they follow that up with more inconsistency. They lose to the Pistons 124-119. As we said, Knicks are now 26-15. They're 13-7 at home. Just some numbers from early on, because a lot of it has been with the play in the first quarter between the Knicks and Pistons. Get these numbers. The Knicks outscored the Pistons in Detroit in November in the first quarter, 39-13. Game over. No threat from the Pistons that night. At Madison Square Garden in early December, Detroit outscores the Knicks. The Knicks outscored Detroit 39-23 in the first quarter. Gives you an idea of exactly which way things were going that night as well. Tonight, more of the same. Pistons 37-26 outscore the Knicks in the first quarter. And you say, well, Jay, first quarter, who cares? Well, here's some numbers to back it up. The Knicks are now 16-3 when leading after the first quarter. They were trailing after the first quarter tonight. They're now 8-11 when trailing after the first quarter. So it tells you all you need to know. A wonderful first quarter from Detroit, a substandard first quarter from New York, and we were off and running. Now, what's interesting about tonight is it wasn't wire to wire for Detroit by any stretch. In fact, the Knicks opened up the second quarter on a 12-2 run to get right back into it. They outscored Detroit 37-22 in the second stanza, and they were fresh on the heels of a lead heading into the third quarter. Of course, the Knicks' average margin of victory at home has been over 11 points. So when they win big. Problem is, as we said, the defense was not there. For Detroit, they shot 50% from the floor, 46 of 92. Now, they hit 15 three-pointers, 15 of 34. They were 17 of 18 from the line. Point being, they were locked and loaded tonight. Coming into a Madison Square Garden in which the Knicks were tired. Back end of a back-to-back. 2 games really in about 30 hours. So it wasn't easy. But again, the defense wasn't there. 46 of 92 from the floor for Detroit. All 5 of their starters were in double figures as well. As we said, 36 from Cade Cunningham, who in just 32 minutes scored 36 points. Now, the bench obviously shortened for the Knicks tonight. Precious, Cam, Deuce, and Landry, the only guys off the bench, and Shamet only played 4 minutes. So Ryan, Toppin, Porty, Kolek, none of those guys saw the floor. Mikal Bridges had 27 on 9 of 13 shooting, one of his better games as a Knick, specifically from 3. He was 6 of 8 from 3. As we said, kept them in the game, specifically in the fourth quarter. He went off. As we said, Cat had 26. Brunson had 31. As for Karl Anthony Towns, 26 and 12, yet another double-double. Double-double for Jalen Brunson as well. He had 31 and 11 assists. Josh Hart, a double-double as well. He had 12 points, 14 rebounds, and 5 assists. Problem once again for the Knicks tonight, assists to turnovers. The ratio is just not good enough. Usually when the Knicks get 30-plus assists in a game, it's going to lead to a win, as is the case with most teams. 26 assists tonight. Problem was the turnovers, 18. Not a very good ratio there. Just 20 assists for Detroit. They were making their shots. They had 11 turnovers. So again, 124-119, the final score. Knicks are now 26 and 15 overall. We'll check the standings coming up. They are 13 and 7 at home. As for the Pistons, who, as we said, won 14 games all of last year. Well, they've now won 12 of 16. They're over 500 away from Detroit. They're 11-10. And they are now 17-2 when leading after the third quarter. So again, good first quarter for Detroit. Good second quarter for New York. Good third quarter for Detroit to take a 2-1 quarter lead, if you will. And then all things being equal in the second half, came down to Malik Beasley in the fourth quarter, and that proved to be the difference. As we said, all 5 starters on each side were in double figures. Cam Payne had 10 in the loss. It did connect on 2 3-pointers. Knicks were 15 of 37, so they're starting to get a little bit better at the threes. We know where we were early in the season. Sky-high stuff. Unbeatable stuff. They've hit the skids tonight, perhaps a bit better. 41% from 3. They were 15 of 37. Bridges hit 6 3-pointers. Karl Anthony Towns hit 4. Cam Payne hit 2. No other Knick had multiple 3-pointers on the night. Precious Achiuwa played 10 minutes, didn't score. Landry Shamet played 4 minutes, didn't score. The Knicks getting just 13 bench points tonight. Meanwhile, plenty of it from Detroit. 46 bench points, again, to just 13 for the Knicks. The Knicks have one of the best starting fives in all of basketball. We talk about it nightly here on the Postcast. There's no doubt about it. Problem is the depth, and it's going to come into play specifically with minutes. Karl Anthony Towns tonight played 43 minutes. The leader, of course, is Mikal Bridges. Nearly 40 minutes per game. He played 37 tonight. Not only that, there was a point early in the fourth quarter when Bridges started to get hot. Tibbs brought him to the bench for, I would say, 4 or 5 minutes when he was still hot. So Bridges played 37 minutes, could have easily played 41, 42, 43 if Tibbs had kept him in there. Again, 43 minutes for Karl Anthony Towns, 37 for Bridges. OG had 39. Brunson played 39. Josh Hart played 38. So it was the starters or bust tonight. As we said, plenty to discuss coming up after the 5-point Knick loss. We have a road game coming up, although the Knicks don't have to go far. We'll tell you where it is coming up. All right, I want to take a moment to introduce you to a brand new mobile game that I'm really excited about. Ultimate College Basketball HC. If you've ever dreamed of being a college basketball head coach, this is your chance to step into those shoes. In Ultimate College Basketball HC, you control every detail of your program, from recruiting players and hiring coaching staff to overseeing training camps, handling NIL deals, and managing scholarships. It's all in your hands. And when it comes to game time, you get to draw up offensive plays and set your strategy. The way you play won't just affect the current season. It'll shape the future of your school's basketball program. It's a game that lets you feel the full weight of what it means to be a head coach and lead your team to glory. Here's a special offer for Locked On NBA listeners. Use promo code LOCKEDONCBB, all caps, inside the game store to get a free boost for your program. It's the perfect way to kickstart your coaching career. To download Ultimate College Basketball HC, just visit ultimate-cbb.com or look it up on the App Store. Ultimate College Basketball HC. Begin your coaching legacy today. Next up is game time. I love going to live events, whether it's sports, music, theater, or comedy. Any of it. Top notch. One of my favorite memories was attending a concert just this past year in December. The energy, the excitement, unforgettable. Now, Game Time has made it even easier to get tickets for your favorite events with their new feature, Game Time Picks. This feature filters out the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. Recently, I was looking for tickets to an upcoming Knick game using the Game Time app. With Game Time picks, I found amazing deals. Could even see the view from my seat before buying. The super deal was particularly impressive, offering great seats at unbeatable prices. Plus, the app's all-in pricing shows the total cost up front with no surprise fees at checkout. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? It is game time. All right, we are back after a Pistons win tonight in the Garden, 124-119. We are officially halfway through the NBA regular season for the Knicks. 41 down, 41 to go. And we've told you ad nauseum over the last couple of weeks, the Knicks now have the toughest schedule remaining of any team in the NBA. Obviously, record-wise, 41 games remaining. We are halfway home. That is the completion of the first 5-game homestand for the Knicks. And to be honest, it didn't go very well. They faced Orlando, Toronto, Oklahoma City, Milwaukee, and Detroit. They lost to Orlando, beat Toronto. Lost to Oklahoma City, beat Milwaukee, lost to Detroit. So back and forth we go. Now, the second 5-game homestand will start in a couple of weeks. First up, we are in Philadelphia on Wednesday. And take note with that game, it will actually start a half hour earlier. They have bumped up that game from 7:30 on Wednesday to 7 in Philadelphia. We'll get to the schedule coming up. As we said, the Knicks' average margin of victory at home over 11 points. So usually when they win, they do so in style. Problem is the defense is not catching up to the offense quite yet. As we said, 124 points for Detroit, including strong first and third quarters. Those have been barometer quarters, if you will. As we said, the Knicks are 16-3 when leading after one, just 8-11 when trailing after one. We've talked about the import of the third quarter at various stages this season. Yes, it's important. And as the third quarter goes, so go most NBA teams. Another indication of that would be tonight's third quarter scoring. Detroit beat New York 36-27. First and third quarter scoring. Detroit wins them both. Detroit wins the game. All right, to the standings we go. And just worthy of mentioning here is Detroit, who's now in the 8th spot at 21-19. They are just a half game out of the 6th spot. Believe it or not, from the Pacers in the 5 spot all the way to the Bulls in the 10 spot, that's 6 teams separated by 3.5 games, and the Pistons are right there at 21-19 in the 8th spot. As for the Knicks, they're now 26-15. There really is tiers to this Eastern Conference through the first half of the season. Cavs all alone at 33-5, despite the loss to Indiana the other night. Then there's the Celtics and Knicks, who are bunched up in the 2 and 3 spot. Then we jump down to the Magic, Pacers, and Bucks, and so on and so forth. Really, as we said, 3 tiers: Cavs, Knicks and Celtics, Celtics and Knicks, and then everybody else. So again, 3 tiers before we get to the schedule. All right, the Knicks, the 4th best 3-point field goal percentage in the league. Tonight was more like the good stuff that we expect. 15 of 37. We had 2 separate games over the last inconsistent stretch, which the Knicks totaled 4 3-pointers made. So much better tonight. Again, 15 of 37. That's 41%. Mikal Bridges was the key. 6 of 8 from 3. Knicks continued to get back on the good free throw shooting horse, if you will. It is amazing how much we actually talk about free throws here, because you kind of think they're insignificant, but they really aren't. The Knicks got off to that hot start, a wonderful stretch, shooting lights out. Specifically in December, a month that featured nothing but wins. Then they went into a lull, if you will, shooting free throws. Back on that horse, as we said. 24 of 29 tonight from the line. Karl Anthony Towns hit 8 of 10. Jalen Brunson, 6 of 8. So, point being, at least the Knicks are shooting their free throws well, which is something they had not been doing for a while. Crazy number, folks. We told you about Karl Anthony Towns' 12 rebounds. He now has 530 rebounds on the season, including his 12 rebounds tonight. He had 515 rebounds total all of last year. He's already surpassed that through the first half of the season. Tells you all you need to know about exactly the goods, the type of goods that Cat brings, and how much intensity he is dedicated to his craft. No doubt about it. Lock. All-star, should be a starter. Josh Hart, as we said, 12 and 14. Even had 5 assists tonight, despite the Knicks turning the ball over 18 times. All right, we'll take one quick last break on the postcast, and we'll set you up for the schedule, which, again, takes a turn because we're hitting the road. We'll discuss that coming up next. Running a small business means you're wearing a lot of hats. Your personal phone becomes your business phone, and before you know it, you're juggling customer calls day and night. As your team grows, it becomes impossible to manage everything with just your personal number. That's where Open Phone comes in. It's the #1 business phone system designed to help keep your work and personal life separate. For just $15 a month, the cost of a few coffees, you get complete transparency and visibility into everything happening with your business phone number. Open Phone works through an app on your phone or computer and integrates with tools like HubSpot and hundreds of others. It also uses AI-powered call transcripts and summaries, so you'll have a rundown of your calls and action items the second you hang up. And if you miss a call, no problem. Automated messages are sent directly to your customer, ensuring you never miss an opportunity to engage. Right now, Open Phone is offering 20% off your first 6 months when you go to openphone.com/LockedOnNBA. That's Open Phone, OpenPhone.com/LockedOnNBA for 20% off 6 months. Openphone.com/LockedOnNBA. And if you have existing numbers with another service, Open Phone will port them over at no extra charge. All right, we're back. Final segment of the postcast as the Knicks welcomed in Detroit. And Detroit won 124-119. As we said, the Knicks from here on out, 41 games down, 41 to go. And the Knicks are 26-15, 3 games ahead of where they were last year through 41 games. 124-119, the final score. As we said, high score for the Knicks was Jalen Brunson with 31 on 12 of 24 shooting. Now, we talked about Mitchell Robinson at many stages through the first 41 games. You figured he's coming back. He's coming back. He's coming back. And he's nowhere close to coming back. Not only that, we're halfway through the season. Season goes quick, folks. Especially when you're losing games with inconsistent play and poor defense. That's when Mitch Robinson needs to hustle back. Hopefully, at some point, that can happen soon. As we said, the Knicks hit the road. They're in Philadelphia Wednesday night. Remember, that's a 7 o'clock tip time, not 7:30, 7 Eastern tip time. Then they return home Friday and Monday, Minnesota and Atlanta. That Atlanta game on Monday in a week from today, is a 3 o'clock Eastern tip time. So Minnesota and Atlanta. The Knicks then go to Brooklyn the following night, Tuesday, January 21st. Then several days off, the second 5-game homestand. All 5 teams coming in on that second 5-game homestand are Western Conference teams. Sacramento, Memphis, Denver, Lakers, and Houston. What a 5-game homestand that will prove to be. As we said, still have 2 road games before then, Philadelphia and Brooklyn. So we'll see exactly what the Knicks are made of over these next couple of days. Your favorite podcast now has a newsletter. Introducing the Locked On Knicks Daily Newsletter, one stop for ultimate team and league coverage delivered right to your inbox. Sign up for free now at LockedOnDaily.com. That's LockedOnDaily.com. Start your day with the all-new free Locked On Knicks newsletter. Also, we've got to mention our partners in crime, the All-Stars, Gavin Shaw and Alex Wolf. They handle all the stuff at Locked On Knicks. They're the best, so follow, subscribe, and enjoy. 124-119. Knicks fall to 26-15 overall. They're 13-7 at home. They will next play in Philadelphia on Wednesday. So, first 5-game homestand is complete. The Knicks go 2-3. They beat Toronto and Milwaukee. They lose to Orlando, Oklahoma City, and Detroit. So, You're not going to win every game in the NBA. Teams just don't. But the inconsistency on the defensive end is what worries you the most. A stinging defeat to Detroit, perhaps the worst so far. No disrespect to Detroit, but this is a Knicks team that should win at home. I guarantee you, several weeks ago, all of us looked at the schedule and said, that's a win. Well, it wasn't. 124-119, the final score. 26-15 overall. The Knicks next face Philadelphia on Wednesday. Remember, early start time, 7 o'clock. We'll be with you on the postcast immediately following. Have a good night, everybody.